Guess what I just saw? After years of not speaking, former paranormal investigating team Aaron and Abby are forced back together when strange apparitions begin to frequently appear throughout Manhattan. Teaming up with Jill, an engineer, and Patty, a New Yorker, the Ghostbusters will have to find the person behind it and figure out how to put an end to their scheme. Right out of the gate, I'm going to tell you, this movie isn't bad. I know rebooting Ghostbusters is tantamount to rebooting Back to the Future. You better fucking not, Hollywood. But as far as reboots go, this isn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. Hell, it's just an entertaining movie. For those of you judging the movie before you see it because it's raping your childhood or because they cast women in the leads, just shut the fuck up. If a movie is what defines your childhood, then your childhood was shit. And if your biggest hangup is that they cast females in the lead role, then you need to take Obi-Wan's advice and go home and rethink your life. Those were two of the biggest complaints that I heard. Others included that god-awful music, that they use CGI, and holy shit, those fucking trailers. Seriously, they were really bad. The trailers that were released, even the ones with that one mildly amusing joke, did this movie absolutely no justice. In all sincerity, Sony should fire whoever did those trailers. As for the complaints for the CGI, what the fuck did you expect in 2016? Would it have been cool to see any practical effects in this movie? Yes, without a doubt. But in 2016, every big budget movie that comes out, they're going to choose CGI over practical effects. Yes, whenever CGI is relied upon to create too much of what we see in the movies, it will lose most of its realism. Fortunately, this movie really doesn't need to worry about that. While every ghost that we do see in the movie is created with computers, realism isn't really a factor in it. Want to know why? Because it's a movie about a fuck ton of ghosts flooding New York. If you're anchored by only what you can do with practical effects, there would be minimal variety of ghosts that we would see in the movie. CGI will allow you to do anything you can think of, it will create for you. So it gives you a wide variety of ghosts.
But Jake, whenever CGI is done poorly, it really takes you out of the movie.
Yeah, you dipshits. If anything in a movie is done poorly, it really takes you out of it. The fuck do you think done poorly means? Sure, CGI being used too much in a movie can kind of pull you out of the movie and take you out of the adventure. But that's what the cast is there for. I'll say this outright. I don't really like Melissa McCarthy or Kristen Wiig. So whenever they were announced as the leads of the movie, I lost all interest. I don't really think either is especially funny unless they have somebody funny to work off of. But as it turns out, both of them together makes them much more entertaining. The chemistry amongst the cast, not just the leads, but all of them, is really awesome. All of the characters feel very real and are fleshed out quite nicely. All of the characters, including the one everyone, including myself, was worried about. Leslie Jones's Patty. My fear, after seeing that first trailer, was that she was just going to be the token black character. It felt like a quick defense to the backlash whenever the trailers that followed emphasized that she had an extensive knowledge of New York City. But that's absolutely her purpose, and it works perfectly. To be honest, I know nothing of Leslie Jones, but based on this movie, she's a funny and very capable actress. Likewise, my knowledge of Kate McKinnon is just as limited, but I left this movie really excited to see what she does next. She has some of the best jokes in the entire movie, gives a decent performance, and has charm to spare. Both of the aforementioned characters not only serve as the exposition and absurdist comedy elements of the movie, but they're also really well-conceived characters. The cast is actually really perfect for this movie, including Chris Hemsworth as the lovable dimwit Kevin. No, not him. Yep, that's him. Anytime he's on screen, you're guaranteed to laugh at how cartoonishly stupid he is. But it can be overused. He ends up being the fodder for a lot of the jokes whenever more time could have been spent buffing up the story. And that's where the real weakness of the movie is. Like the original Ghostbusters, this movie has a lot of fun and humor in the first 2 acts while it fleshes out the characters. Unlike the classic, whenever the plot actually has to take the wheel, the movie sort of crumbles under the weight of bad storytelling. Case in point, Rowan, the movie's main villain. The gist of the character is that he's a pissy little shit who wants revenge on humanity because he was bullied for being a nerd. I mean, talk about a phoned-in villain. At one point, it seemed like there might be something interesting to him whenever they blatantly point out that he's essentially the evil version of Abby and Aaron, but literally nothing comes of it. Another problem I had was the climax. It was too rushed. For some unknown reason, Aaron is separated from the rest of the group whenever shit starts to go down. But then she just shows up, just in time to save the other Ghostbusters. And there's no explanation as to how she got there. In all honesty, the third act was nothing more than an effects show. And that's a real shame. If the climax had actually included any payoff at all to all the character development done earlier in the movie, and was structured a bit better, this would have been a great movie. But all in all, 2016's Ghostbusters was good. It's fun, entertaining, and is actually a decent comedy. But those looking for something to hate will find something to hate. And that's the real problem with this movie. The haters. No, this movie isn't the original Ghostbusters. Yes, they did cast women in the leads. And yes, they did use CGI in a 2016 big budget movie. You know what? Get the fuck over it. Even before any footage was shot for this, a lot of people have sat in judgment of this movie. I've been worried about this movie because, as previously stated, I don't like the leads. Now, it's understandable that people were worried after that first trailer came out. But whether you want to admit it or not, the trailers did get progressively better. But the amount of hate this movie has received is fucking ridiculous. To the point that people feel the necessity to attack anybody who has anything positive to say about it. Like Patton Oswalt. I mean, seriously, you're going to question the man's grief over the death of his wife and the circumstances of said death just because he enjoyed a movie that you want to hate so fucking much? Get the fuck out of here. This is a solid comedy with some problems. It's entertaining, funny, a lot of fun, and most importantly, harmless. So for anybody who wants to shit on me or shit on this movie before they get off their asses and go see it, shut the fuck up. Until next time, I'm Jake. I'll see you in the future. Oh, and stay all the way through the credits.